It was never the pursuit of money that drove me into entrepreneurship. It was the desire for personal freedom, because I had a rather, I'd call it traumatic experience when I was young, but really set me on the right direction. And it was very simple. I got one of my first jobs in high school, and I was at a shopping mall. I'll never forget the experience. It was an ice cream scooper. So I was scooping ice cream for people. And I got that job because the girl I was interested in high school was across the mall in the shoe store. She was working there. And I kind of wanted to see if I could, stay close to her and see if we could work things out and go to work together, etc. So my first day on the job, and she was looking at me from across, right out the other window, the owner of the store said to me, "Look, see what happens when people sample ice cream is they take their gum out and they throw it on the floor, because you get a little sampler on a little piece of wood. And so by the end of the day, the floor is completely black with gum plastered all over it." So she said to me, "Listen, before you leave today, get down on your knees and scrape the gum off the tile. And you have to do that every day." This girl I was talking about was watching me, and I said, "Wait a second, you hired me as an ice cream scooper, not a gum scraper. I mean, I'm happy to scoop ice cream, but I don't want to get on my knees and wash the floor." And she said, "You're going to do whatever I say. I own this store. You're my employee. If you..." And I said, "Well, I'm not doing it. My job description was an ice cream scooper." She said, "Well, how about this? You're fired." Wow. And I didn't even know what fired meant, but I figured it out pretty quickly. And that was very humiliating for me. I had to ride my bicycle home, tell my mother what happened. And so at that moment, I realized something very important. It was a big lesson in life for me, that there's two types of people in the world. There's people that own the store, and there's the people that scrape the shit off the floor. And you have to kind of decide which one you are. And it doesn't mean that being an employee is a bad thing. You can have a fantastic life as being a great employee and working for somebody and support your family and everything else. But that's not for me. I don't want somebody telling me what to do. It's that simple. And that was the beginning of my path. Now, the day I became wealthy I never saw it coming. Someone bought our company for $4.2 billion, the Mattel toy company, and the 10 of us that started it the next morning were, it's a huge liquidity event. I didn't stop working. I've been working ever since that day. It really showed me the differences between the pursuit of personal freedom and that's what I think when I guest lecture now to graduating cohorts of engineers mostly, I tell them, it's never about money. It has nothing to do with money. Personal freedom is a burning desire for many people. And the only way you can get that is to achieve success as an entrepreneur. Unless someone just gives you, enough money to live freely. I don't know, that's not easy to do. But to me, it was, pursuit of that freedom. And then along the way, I was very fortunate. And I think that's always been my burning desire. I want to be able to spend my time doing the things I want to do. I don't, one of the great outcomes of entrepreneurship is the ability to decide how to spend your time. That's why I tell, young entrepreneurs, understand what the goal is. It has nothing to do with greed. It has to do with personal freedom. I wanted to pursue photography and cinematography and, be a commercial photographer and film producer. That's what I really wanted to do. And my stepfather said to me, "Look, you're not good enough in those fields. They're highly competitive. You're probably going to starve to death. Maybe you should pursue a business degree." This is after I'd graduated from undergrad because, basically I spent my undergrad in arts and psychology, chasing girls and doing what all college students do, have a great time. But when I graduated, I really had nothing to show for it. I mean, I'm happy to get a degree, that's great, but it was not in a discipline that I could find a living, or form a living. And so he said, "Look, you should go and get a business degree, and then no matter what discipline you pursue, at least you'll have the building blocks for business." It was great advice, and I was able to do that, and that's the next path. That was the next path. And when I got out of business school, then I formed a television production company, and I was able to, at that time, start doing sports programming for the networks around the original 6 hockey teams in New York, Detroit, Boston, etc. And that company was quite successful, and we sold it. And then I started the learning company next, or it was called SoftKey first, and then the learning company. And that's the one we sold for $4.2 billion. So it's kind of a serendipitous path. You never know how it's going to turn out. The people I met during that program ended up being very important to me in my career. And I've always thought of education really as a chance to expand your contacts, even whether it's undergrad or graduate work, is that you're creating a network, a social network. And in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, you need to know people that can help you in different disciplines. And I never realized that when I was going through it, but I don't remember anything of, some basic variable cost analysis or something. I don't really remember or care, but I can tell you my success in business had a lot to do with the contacts I met there. And when I teach now, I recently taught a graduating class at Harvard just this week, and I told them the same lesson. The prof didn't like to hear that, but it's the truth. I said, it's the people sitting beside you right now. Some of you are virtual, some of you physically there, that are going to be the most important thing you get out of this education, not the actual coursework or cases. It's kind of, real life will teach you that, but the contacts you have are extremely valuable. So I would argue that there is value in college. There is value there. But while you're at it, pick a discipline. I know your parents told you doctor, but I told my kids engineering. Like I said to them, look, if you want a great outcome for what you're borrowing for college, is engineering, engineering, and engineering. And if you have time at night, do some engineering. But it's sort of, these days artists are becoming very valuable because of the digital economy. So it's always different for each generation. You're really passionate about what you're doing. You don't really notice how this wealth thing occurs, because I owned a lot of founder shares. I was one of the founding members of the company, and one day they were turned into cash through an acquisition. And I remember we all sat around the next day and said, what do we do? I mean, we all just went back to work. We didn't know what else to do. I mean, I don't do things I don't want to do, and luckily I've made plenty of bad investments too. But fortunately I make enough good ones that I have all I can use, and I don't need more money. I want to do things that I really enjoy, and that provides me the ability to have those opportunities. And by the way, now I'm completely back into photography again. I've got a guitar collection that's absolutely huge. I was actually a shareholder of Fender for a while, so I got my dreams in a reverse order. I wanted to be a rock star, but it took me a long time to get. It's really interesting. I do a lot of work with the guitar companies now, and I'm very big in watch collecting and things that I really have a passion for, that this freedom provides me. The majority of people spend too much money on crap they don't need. I've noticed that for years, and so I'm very disciplined. I don't buy clothes I don't need, I don't wear. I learned that from my mother. I wear the same. I've got 25 of these suits, 25 of these ties, 25 of these shirts. I do a huge production run. This is my Shark Tank outfit. I also wear it all the time. It's sort of the same. I don't have to choose what I'm going to wear each day. I already know. It sounds boring, but it really works for me, and I save a ton of money. And so, I'm still saving money when I can. I don't see any reason to waste it. So there's a lot of change in behavior to save money. I can guarantee you don't need to buy 3 coffees a day at $7 a coffee. That's a total waste of money. I see that all the time. And people go out and pay $25 for lunch. How dumb is that? I mean, I don't do that. It offends me. It's bad karma to just waste money like that. So I'll bring some lunch with me. I can't stand spending $7 for something that cost 18 cents to make. That's so stupid. Business is cash flow. Just you don't have any cash flow, it's no go. You're not going to make any money. It's that simple. But don't buy a lot of stuff, buy very little stuff, but what you do buy, make it very high quality and treat it like an investment in your head. So when I buy a very expensive watch, I'm extremely selective because I want that watch to appreciate. Now I have many, many watches. I have a very large watch collection, but to me it's an alternative asset. My watch collection is up 114% year over year because I buy very, very selective pieces, and I'm extremely fortunate to be part of that global watch community that when a Rolex or a Patek or Audemars Piguet or FP Journe or Omega, all these different watch brands, I'm very familiar with them because I'm a very active collector and I select my pieces. Well, The best thing you can do is articulate your opportunity in 90 seconds or less. Learn to explain exactly what you can do in 90 seconds or less, because it's really about the opportunity. And then explain why you're the right person to execute on the idea, because there's a million great ideas and very few people can execute on them. Well, I want to do things that keep me really stimulated. I'm very interested in engaging in entrepreneurship. I help many entrepreneurs. I'm very interested in photography. I'm very interested in recording music. You know, I have a passion for wine. I have a very big wine business. I'm an investor in over 20 vineyards. And so these things are things that balance my life, because I've always said the best managers in business have yin and yang. They have the idea of the discipline of business, which is very binary. Either you make money or you lose money, but they also have the chaos of art. And that helps them become more creative as they try and solve business problems. The greatest managers I know have a little bit of both. They really enjoy something. They're passionate about music, or they're passionate about, painting or something, but they're also great managers. So they can do the discipline of business along with the chaos of art, combining those talents. They're the people I tend to hire. I think they're great at sort of being masters of achieving things, because they find different ways to do it. And you require some discipline in the arts to do that.